My name's Charlie Duke. I was fortunate to have been an Apollo astronaut. We had 9 missions to the moon. I was fortunate to work on 5 of those missions. I was twice in mission control, a backup crew on Apollo 13, Apollo 17.
The dust settled on the Descartes Highlands, marking Charles Duke as the 10th human to touch the moon. His footsteps left an imprint, but a deeper, unseen impression was left on him, a burden he carried back to Earth. This untold story, a personal challenge that haunted the Apollo 16 astronaut, reveals a side of lunar exploration we rarely hear about.
We didn't spend a dime on the moon. It was all spent in the United States of America.
Many people are crazy about the epic tales of space, but not all things are what they seem. We're about to peel back the layers of history to expose a profound truth, a darkest moon secret that shows the extreme personal toll of groundbreaking achievements. More than just moon rocks. The public saw a beaming astronaut, a man living out humanity's grandest adventure. They saw the meticulous planning, the scientific breakthroughs, and the sheer audacity of it all. What many overlooked is that the immense pressure to perform, to succeed, and to return safely was a colossal weight. The Apollo program, at its peak, was a national obsession, a race against the Soviet Union. Every astronaut, every mission was scrutinized. Charles Duke, at 36 years old, was the youngest person to walk on the moon, a remarkable feat that came with unspoken expectations. He was a test pilot, a military man, a picture of strength and determination. Yet the vacuum of space and the silent expanse of the lunar surface also amplified personal struggles. To put it mildly, the isolation, even with his fellow astronauts John Young and Ken Mattingly, was profound. Imagine being more than 240,000 miles from Earth, a tiny blue marble hanging in the blackness, and knowing that every decision could mean the difference between life and loss. The moon itself, a place of stark beauty and unforgiving terrain, offered little comfort. The lunar module, nicknamed Orion, was their fragile sanctuary, a metal shell barely larger than a small car, protecting them from the extreme temperatures that swing wildly from over 250 degrees Fahrenheit in sunlight to negative 208 degrees Fahrenheit in shadow. The dust, a fine, abrasive powder, clung to everything, even causing problems with their equipment. It was a hostile environment, demanding constant vigilance and incredible resilience. For 3 days, 23 hours, and 5 minutes, Duke and Young navigated this alien landscape. The total distance covered by the rover on the lunar surface was 26.6 kilometers, or about 16.5 miles, a testament to their dedication and the engineering marvels that got them there. But the real challenge for Charles Duke wasn't just the physical demands or the technical complexities. It was the mental and emotional toll. The training for Apollo was brutal, pushing astronauts to their limits, but it couldn't fully prepare them for the psychological impact of being truly alone in the universe. The overview effect, a term coined later to describe the cognitive shift experienced by astronauts seeing Earth from space, can be profound, fostering a sense of interconnectedness, but also a deep awareness of Earth's fragility. For some, like Duke, it could also amplify a sense of personal disconnectedness from the earthly life they left behind. The most shocking fact is that while they were preparing for every imaginable technical malfunction, the human element, the emotional landscape of these extraordinary individuals, was often less discussed. And you can see this everywhere in the stories of many returning heroes who found re-entry into normal life almost as challenging as re-entry into Earth's atmosphere. This hidden dimension of space travel, the internal journey, would become a central theme in Duke's later life, leading to the revelation of his deepest secret. What did this unparalleled journey truly reveal about the man beneath the helmet? Earth's pull and the crushing weight. Returning from the moon was not the end of the journey for Charles Duke. It was the beginning of a different kind of challenge, one that many returning astronauts faced. The euphoria of success, the parades, and the public adoration were immense, but they often masked a profound internal void. You see, after experiencing the vastness of space and the silent majesty of the moon, the familiar world of Earth could feel confining, even mundane. This sudden shift from the extraordinary to the ordinary often brought with it a sense of detachment, a feeling that no one back home could truly grasp what they had witnessed or endured. This is where the crushing weight truly began to settle in. Duke, like many of his fellow Apollo astronauts, struggled to reintegrate into a normal life. The immediate aftermath of his mission was a whirlwind of debriefings, public appearances, and scientific analyses of the lunar samples. But beneath the surface, a quiet battle brewed. The thing nobody tells you is that while they were hailed as heroes, many astronauts grappled with the intense psychological aftermath of their missions. Some found solace in continued space-related work, others in new ventures, but for Duke, the transition was particularly difficult. The world he returned to felt both the same and profoundly different. His perspective had been irrevocably altered by seeing Earth as a small, delicate sphere against the infinite black. This personal struggle wasn't unique to Duke. Buzz Aldrin, another lunar pioneer, openly discussed his battles with personal problems and alcohol dependency after Apollo 11. To put it mildly, the return to Earth could be as disorienting as leaving it. Astronauts like Gene Cernan, the last man on the moon, also spoke of the deep sense of loss and the challenge of finding meaning after achieving such an ultimate human ambition. The most shocking fact is that while the public focused on the triumphs, NASA in those early days was still learning about the long-term psychological effects of deep space travel. It wasn't just physical safety they had to worry about. The mental well-being of these extraordinary individuals was also at stake. The sense of purpose that had driven them through years of rigorous training and into the unknown was suddenly gone. Charles Duke, a military man, a fighter pilot who had flown thousands of hours, found himself without the clear, immediate objective that had defined his adult life. The rigorous structure of NASA and the military, which had been a comfort and a guide, was now less central to his everyday existence. Many people are crazy about the idea of fame and glory, but for these individuals it often came with an isolating burden. The spotlight was intense, but it also highlighted the internal struggles they were trying to navigate alone. The pressures extended beyond the personal. The Apollo program was winding down and the future of human space exploration seemed uncertain. This collective shift further compounded the individual feelings of being adrift. You can see this everywhere in the accounts of those who lived through that era. The rapid pace of change, the scaling back of grand ambitions. For Duke, this period led to deep introspection, a search for meaning beyond the scientific and exploratory achievements of his lunar mission. His darkest moon secret was not an event on the lunar surface, but the profound inner turmoil that followed, a crisis of spirit that few could comprehend. What profound realization would emerge from this period of deep reflection? Finding light in the darkness. After years of grappling with the profound impact of his lunar journey and the challenges of reintegration, Charles Duke embarked on a new, unexpected path. This was his spiritual awakening, a transformation that would ultimately redefine his life and allow him to confront the darkest moon secret he had carried for so long. It wasn't an overnight change, but a gradual process of seeking and finding a deeper purpose. You see, the isolation of space and the overwhelming perspective of Earth from afar had paradoxically sown seeds of spiritual questioning within him. Many people are crazy about the idea that astronauts, being so rooted in science and engineering, might not be overtly spiritual. But the thing nobody tells you is that seeing the universe from such a vantage point often forces a profound reevaluation of one's place within it. For Duke, this meant confronting the emptiness he felt despite his unparalleled achievements. He realized that the pursuit of earthly accolades and scientific milestones, while significant, couldn't fill a spiritual void. To put it mildly, the moon had given him a view of the cosmos, but he still needed a view of his soul. His search led him to faith. This wasn't a casual adoption of belief, but a deeply personal conversion that gave him a framework to understand his experiences and to heal. The structure, the community, and the sense of belonging offered a stark contrast to the vast, cold emptiness of space and the emotional isolation he had felt upon his return. The most shocking fact is how many astronauts, after their missions, have found themselves drawn to spiritual paths, seeking answers to questions that science alone couldn't fully address. Edgar Mitchell of Apollo 14 became a proponent of noetic sciences exploring consciousness and human potential. Gene Cernan as well found renewed faith. These aren't just isolated cases, you can see this everywhere among those who have touched the cosmos. Duke's commitment to his newfound faith became the bedrock for rebuilding his life. He began to speak publicly, not just about his moon experiences, but about his personal transformation. This was a radical departure for someone who had previously kept his internal struggles private. He started sharing how his moon journey, while glorious, had initially left him feeling adrift, and how his spiritual journey had anchored him once more. This public sharing was a powerful act, transforming his personal secret into a message of hope for others struggling with similar feelings of aimlessness. This new direction allowed him to find a new mission, one just as profound as flying to the moon, to inspire and to share a message of inner peace. The moon, once a symbol of his greatest achievement and deepest internal struggle, became a stepping stone to a different kind of fulfillment. He channeled his energy into ministry and motivational speaking, using his unique platform to discuss not just the wonders of space, but the wonders of personal renewal. This wasn't just about sharing a story, it was about revealing a core truth about the human condition, even for those who reached the stars. But what specific event finally pushed him to fully embrace this public spiritual path? A legacy beyond footprints. The deepest moon secret Charles Duke carried wasn't a conspiracy, nor a technical failure. It was the personal anguish he endured after returning from the moon, a profound sense of spiritual emptiness and a brokenness within his family life that he later attributed to his intense focus on his career and the mission. You see, the pressures of the Apollo program, while leading to monumental achievements, often took a significant toll on the personal lives of the astronauts and their families. This secret was not about what happened on the moon, but what happened because of it, and how it almost destroyed the fabric of his life back on Earth. His journey to becoming a born-again Christian in 1978 marked the turning point, the moment he truly began to unpack this heavy burden. It was in this new spiritual context that he found the courage to finally share what had been his darkest personal struggle. Many people are crazy about tales of heroism, but the thing nobody tells you is that true strength often lies in vulnerability. Duke began to speak openly about the near collapse of his marriage, his feelings of inadequacy, and the spiritual void that space travel had, perhaps inadvertently, highlighted. To put it mildly, the man who had walked on the moon was, for a time, lost on Earth. This revelation was not a calculated move for fame, but a heartfelt desire to share his experience and perhaps help others. He transformed his personal struggles into a public testimony, using his platform not to glorify himself, but to speak about redemption and renewal. He candidly discussed how his pursuit of the ultimate human frontier had overshadowed his responsibilities as a husband and father. The most shocking fact is that for someone who had achieved such public acclaim, his private world was in disarray, a stark contrast between his public image and his personal reality. And you can see this everywhere in the lives of many high achievers who find their greatest challenges in the seemingly ordinary aspects of life. His story became a powerful testament to overcoming adversity, not through scientific prowess, but through personal transformation. He and his wife, Dorothy, later recounted their struggles and how their renewed faith helped them rebuild their relationship. This was the true darkest moon secret, not a mystery hidden in lunar craters, but the deeply human struggle of a hero who felt lost despite achieving the impossible. His willingness to share this vulnerable side offered a different kind of courage, one that resonated deeply with audiences. Duke's journey from celebrated astronaut to spiritual speaker allowed him to offer a unique perspective on life's true priorities. He often spoke about how his experience in space had made him appreciate the preciousness of Earth and the importance of relationships. The moon, a symbol of human ambition, became for him a profound lesson in humility and the need for a spiritual compass. His legacy expanded beyond mere footprints in lunar dust. It now included the indelible mark of a man who openly confronted his deepest struggles and found a path to healing. What lasting lessons can we draw from Charles Duke's complete story, especially for our own lives? Charles Duke's journey reveals that even lunar heroes have deep personal struggles. His ultimate triumph wasn't just walking on the moon, but finding profound peace on Earth. What do you think is the biggest unseen challenge of space travel? Like and subscribe for more untold stories.